Part 65. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 643. 63 Xianxia's suggestion. Haha, I have magic weapon too. Yekong, overjoyed, took out Swimizu, and found that the soul inside had grown a lot, and he had begun to show a human form. Relax, Xian, I will definitely take you back. Certainly. Yekong put away Swimizu and used a flying sword for a while, and found that the magic weapon and the magic weapon were completely different. Regardless of power, let's talk about operation, which is extremely convenient. The magic weapon seems to be your own hand, your own feet. If you want it to be big, if you want it to be small, you can divide it into countless numbers, all of which are only in your own thoughts. You don't need to use the magic weapon at all. How to do it? So the biggest advantage of magic weapon is that it is easy to use and do whatever you want. Yekong also wanted to try the power of this so-called super magic sword, but there was no target. I wanted to chat with Xiuqiuaveng, but who knows that this guy has entered the stage of evolution and integration with Ziliangjing. Your ancestor, I wanted you to cooperate and kill the four outside. You're better, you don't care about anything actually, Yekong blamed Xiuqiuaveng. This guy wanted to hurry up with time integration, and if his strength is enhanced, he can do a bigger job. Who knows, this evolution and fusion are not so fast. Yekong cast his gaze out of Peepazu again, and he was surprised to find that the sleepy array outside had been withdrawn, and only one of the 4 UN infants remained. Yekong Gli was overjoyed. It really helped me too. But in an instant, Yekong wanted to understand again. How can there be so many good things? Even if their defenses are lax, there is no need to stop the trap. Isn't it obvious that it is a trap and seduce yourself out? Well, do you want to lead the snake out of the hole? Then I'll give you a plan that counts. Just use you to try my magic power. Yangqiang has been waiting for 10 days outside. What makes him depressed is that the dust is still dust, and there is no movement at all. This made him uneasy. Could this kid really not be able to live and die, and practiced with peace of mind inside? Then it will be troublesome and your plan will not be realized. The 3 people ambushed outside the warehouse were afraid of Yekong's discovery, and they didn't even dare to let go. They had their own thoughts. Xianxia believed in Yangqiang completely, so he waited to call himself first and get the second credit. The old Beizong and Wu Yulong looked at each other, and it was clear that Yangqiang wanted to take away his own credit. They didn't come out on the first day. They have reached an agreement in private. As soon as the boy comes out, Xianxia and Yangqiang are resolved, and then they will share the credit. Hey, Yangqiang, you want to do it alone? No way. Yekong didn't know what they were thinking. His idea was to count one by one. Since you seduce me out, I'll count the plans and kill one before I say it. Looking at Yangqiang alone, Yekong Kong flew out as soon as he moved, holding a top-quality magic weapon in his hand. Yang Qiangzi, who is about to lose patience, boy, since you come out to die, you can't blame me. Seeing Yekong coming out, Yangqiang's first reaction was not an attack, but a wave of his hand, which activated the sound insulation prohibition that he had already laid out, so as not to be noticed by outsiders. Yekong saw him in this action, firstly hesitated, and then immediately understood that this guy wanted to take credit for it. The idea worked well, depending on whether you have this ability. Yekong had a sneak attack, and when he came out he didn't talk, he raised his hand and released a golden shield and broadsword. Is this just a means? Yangqiang sneered, telling the truth, the real person who built the base plus the top quality magic weapon was not enough to see in front of you and Ying Zhenjun. Yangqiang was ignorant at all, but just held up the spiritual shield and allowed the top quality magic weapon to hit his spiritual shield. He didn't underestimate the enemy, nor did he have no means. The key is that he was worried that Yekong would not get into that space treasure again. So he didn't dare to attack the snake. Dang, Jin Dunkuo sword hit Yang Qiang's spiritual shield, and a golden flower splashed, and Jin Dunkuo sword bounced back without any doubt. Boy, the difference between the UN infant period and the base period is not a little bit. You want to beat me? That is absolutely impossible, Yang Qiang said something to stimulate Ye Kong. Ye Kong took back the shield sword and laughed. That's the same, but if you want to kill me or catch me alive, that's impossible. I can go back at any time, just move my mind. Yang Qiang frowned. This was what he was most worried about. He finally seduced him out. How could he let him go back? Yang Qiang is also a guy with a lot of ideas. In the blink of an eye, he thought about it and laughed. Little friend, I don't think you want to be stuck here forever. Without telling you, I have a kind of trapped dragon. It won't be a problem to trap you for tens of thousands of years. How long can you live? By the time you die, I will not die. Yang Qiang laughed a while, and said, in order not to let you delay your limited life and to make an earlier exchange, so I have a suggestion. You said. My suggestion is this, Ben Zhenjun stood still and asked you to fight 10 times. If Ben Zhenjun was defeated or killed, let yourself go, but if after 10 times, Ben Zhenjun did not die, you must be defeated. Do not enter the space treasure again. Ye Kong is so funny, this Yuanying Zhenjun is really stupid. Even if I hit you 10 times, I will not keep my promise. If you do nt say it, you won't go in? What's Ben Zhenjun's suggestion? I'm fair to you. Take out your most powerful and fierce treasure. Yang Qiang finished. The spiritual shield was fully open. Outside his body, the bright layer, the 7-color air mass, looks like a full moon. But looking at the insidious look of Yuanying Zhenjun, Ye Kong suddenly understood again. This guy will never let himself fight 10 times. He is not so good. His purpose is to use his magic power or use time-consuming spells, and he suddenly shots to capture himself. Well, see if your abacus hits the ground so well. I don't cooperate with you, I'm really sorry for you. So as you wish, this true lord, you have to be careful, Ye Kong sneered. Haha, I'm afraid you don't have that ability, attack me with your best weapon and spell. Although he despised the boy, Yang Qiang didn't dare to entrust him. Not only did he fully open the spiritual shield, but he also prepared the baby lock method at any time. The treasure was imprisoned. It seems I really have to do my best. Ye Kong solemnly took one out of the storage ring. Yang Qiang looked at it, and could not wait to shout, God help me too. It turned out that Ye Kong took out a Fubao. Everyone knows that Fubao's gadget is very powerful, but the drawback is that it is too slow to start and must be driven by a large number of tips and tricks. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 644. 644 Magic Power. What kind of Fubao is this? It's so murderous. You ancestor, should you be so exaggerated? A broken Fubao scared a Yuanying Zhenjun like this? Dude, you're so good at acting. This Fubao is the first person in Kangnan. Huahua is too old. Wang Xiaoman was trained before he took off. Hey, senior, you have to be careful. This is not a normal Fubao. Ye Kong hey smile, you play me and I. Wang Xiaoman, Yang Qiang sneered, whoever I care about you, as long as you start to run Fubao, this is the time when I capture you. Yang Qiang thought, the tactics in his hands had been replaced with the tactics of attack. Senior, I'm going to start, don't take the opportunity to sneak in on me. Ye Kong made an effort to sit cross-legged, and at the same time confused his mind with words. Sure enough, Yang Qiang was said to be thinking centrally, and he was in a state of confusion. He was trying to explain something, and when someone on the other side spoke, a brilliant white light burst out. Shen Biwei's golden sword. What is it? Destiny magic weapon? How can a base building monk have magic weapon? Yang Qiang's originally confused mind was once again confused, with countless questions like a group of crows flying. However, he is not a good stubble. He came from Yunyo and has a wealth of combat experience. He is definitely not like the native Qiuqiuaveng. Regardless of what you do. Regardless of whether you are a magic weapon or a magic weapon. After all, you are a real person. Instantly, Yang Qiang calmed down. Although the white light is fast, no one's thoughts are fast. Yang Qiang, as a Yuanying Zhenjun, moves very fast. Without waiting, he felt that the power of this destiny magic weapon was so vigorous, and the sharpness and danger of taking human lives was so strong. This is by no means an ordinary magic weapon. Baby locks the space. Yang Qiang's temporary replacement of the tactics seemed to be a little messy. But fortunately, caught up. Yang Qiang breathed a sigh of relief, and a powerful spiritual power group had surrounded the silver-white sparkling flying sword magic weapon. Almost capsized in the gutter. Yang Qiang wiped the sweat on his forehead. Khan didn't wipe it, he raised his hand and made him startled. The silver flying sword had stars on it, and the dense golden light shone on. Then, it burst out of the spiritual force mass without hindrance, and then broke through the spiritual shield without hindrance. Boom, Yang Qiang's head exploded into pieces. Everything was so fast that Yang Qiang became a headless corpse, and the spiritual shield was still standing there. The two eyes on the ground rolled down. In addition to the terror, there was doubt. He didn't understand before he died. How could his powerful baby lock space and strong spiritual shield suddenly fail? Of course, he is still unwilling. He is the real prince of Yuanying. Yekanke built the 5th floor. If he fights with his strength, how can he not be killed? It's so dead. Some people say, how can the protagonist build a base to kill Yuanying? You're too shit. Yekong can only tell you that human beings can defeat all kinds of fierce beasts and become the masters of the earth, not because they have great strength, they have no brain power, and they finally become the food of others. At the same time, there are opportunities, strategies, coincidences, and mentalities. If you only look at the realm or level, isn't the PLA with Xiaomi plus a rifle always able to defeat the devil? Whether it is a bug or not depends on whether it is reasonable or not. Of course, Yekong's victory cannot be copied. When Yang Qiang was killed, the soundproof enchantment he arranged immediately disappeared. Yekong still lacks some experience in fighting with these guys. Yang Qiang was killed, but he did not take the opportunity to hang his Yuanying. Suddenly a Jin Chankan villain hurriedly escaped, turned around and fled towards the warehouse door. However, it was also called Yang Qiang. Because of the fear of Yekong escaping, the gate of the warehouse was changed. The huge broken stone blocked the door. Yang Qiang yelled, "Xiao Xian! Open the door!" The words did not fall, and then the Shenbiwa Jinjian who followed had arrived, and it was not polite to directly kill Yang Qiang's Yuanying. Yeah. Zuji killed Yuanying. This was the first time Yekong had killed Yuanying monk. He also knew that the victory was unexpected. Had it not been for Yang Qiang's fear that he would hide in the pipa beads and not come up with such a stupid idea that made him fight, it would be impossible for him to kill Yang Qiang. It's good to be lucky enough to kill one. Yekong is not unwilling, so he wants to hide into the pipa beads. After all, there are 3 Yuanying Zhenjun outside. But at this time, he heard that the tunnel outside the warehouse was clamoring and raging. Xiao Xian, you and Yang Qiang want to be greedy? Dream. The old man killed you. Bai Song, you old turtle, when do I want to be greedy? Wu Yulong, he will kill you if he kills me. It doesn't need you to worry about it. I won't hide it from you. I will make an appointment with Bai Lao. At that time, he will be introduced to the body, and I will take over the post of Li Yuan mine director. Wu Yulong, Bai Song, you two bastards, I must report my master when I go out. Yekong heard that, and dared to play these nests. This is the best, my chance is here. Zixuan, bless me to escape here safely. Outside, Xianxia fought two true kings alone, and soon it was a bit difficult, but Bai Song and Wu Yulong wanted to kill him, but it was a little difficult. Generally, it is very difficult to kill during the UN infant period. There is a teleportation during the UN infant period. Even if the physical body is destroyed, the UN infant is very fast. After all, unlucky ghosts like Yang Qiang are a minority. Huh, you are ruthless. Let's see, Xiao Xian flew into the channel with the teleport. What to do? It shouldn't be so early, you should let him start when he opens the door, Wu Yulong said angrily. I won't say the words in the past. Let's go. Let's go in and kill Yang Qiang, said the old Beizong. But I'm afraid of Xiao Xian's master. Wu Yulong was still a little worried. Bai Song laughed, his master is just an ordinary demon. If we help the Lord Lengqi catch that kid, who else dares to say anything? Wu Yulong thought about it and nodded, it seems that this is the only thing, let's go in quickly. This time, don't let Yang Qiang run away. Boom, the huge broken dragon stone gate opened, and the scene in front of them couldn't imagine it, and they saw Yang Qiang in a different place, lying in the middle of the warehouse. Yang Qiang is dead, Wu Yulong was startled, and then thought, is that kid still inside? He didn't want to, and rushed in. Compared with Wu Yulong, Bai Song is much more cunning than Old Pines. When he saw Yang Qiang's tragic death, the first reaction in his mind was that this was not easy. The second reaction was that I had made a big mistake just now, before opening the door, I should let go of my consciousness. What if the kid escapes while opening the door? When Bai Song released his consciousness at the first time, he immediately discovered a terrible thing. In the place where he entered the door, there was a very powerful and complicated array. Wu Yulong Zhenjun, be careful. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 645. 65 Lure Baby UN. But Bai Song's shout was too late, Wu Yulong felt that he was dazzling, and then watched intently. He was still here, as if he was not here, the warehouse, but Bai Song behind him was gone, and Bai Song's voice was clear come. Wu Yulong hurriedly walked, but found that he could no longer leave this square inch. Fang inch sleepy fairy array, that's right, it was this array. At that time, the middle Jingxianshan Banjianren was trapped in the array to find a way, not to mention a monk in the middle of the first baby. Wu Yulong was trapped, and Bai Song was shocked and alert. He groaned, this kid is really not simple. Not only did he kill Yang Qiang, but also the formation can trap Wu Yulong. Maybe this time he really missed it and escaped him. In fact, what Yamao figured was far from running away, but to wipe them out. Bai Song stood still outside the door and swept away, a slight imperceptible smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Boy, do you want to blame the old man? It's whimsical. Bai Song clearly felt that the dust from the space treasure was still in the center of the warehouse, and at the corner, a teenager with a piece of rune paper was looking at himself nervously. Just want to blind the old man with your invisible magic charm like a three-legged cat? See if the husband catches you. This is the moment when the two of them are fighting wit. Bai Song also calculated everything, pretending that he didn't find Yekong standing in the corner, but walked carefully to the center of the warehouse. When I came to the center of the warehouse, there was the dust in front of me. Seeing that the object was still there, Bai Song breathed a sigh of relief. And the danger came at this moment, it was Bai Song's most relaxed moment, attacking. Yekong's time was exactly the same. The boy in the corner threw a top-grade flying sword. Go to death. But at the same time, Bai Song's body moved. It's you. The well-prepared Bai Song turned back violently, and the left hand hit the lock-in method of the infant lock space. The 5 fingers of his right hand suddenly flew out, and went straight to the hidden Yekong. Everyone is disabled, and my disability is at hand. Boom, Yekong's body was instantly crushed. Bai Song didn't show mercy, and Leng Kai's space weapon was behind him. What else could I worry about? But when Yekong's body collapsed into a haze, Bai Song's face changed immediately. Not good. Be cheated. In fact, the figure is just a shadow created by the spiritualized shadow, but the real Yekong has already hid in the pipa beads. When Bai Song turned back, Yekong appeared. Who died, now revealed. As soon as Yekong showed up, he was rude and issued a killing blow. Shen Biwei's golden sword. It must be said that thanks to the refining of this thing, if it does not have its powerful ability to break defenses, it cannot simply break through the spiritual shield of a Yuanying Zhenjun by changing other instruments, and it can only seriously hurt the other party when changing Gubeo. Shen Biwei's golden sword, which has joined the beast Neodan, can directly break through the spiritual shield without the defense of the opponent, and can't even hit a single one. In this way, the head of Bai Song Hao's white beard is cut off. This time Yekong did not make the last mistake. Shen Biwei's golden sword beheaded Bai Song and immediately hanged his Yuan Ying. But Bai Song's old man was not simple. Yuan Ying escaped from the crotch and escaped. The most surprising thing was that after the baby Bai Yuan's Yuan escaped, he didn't fly away. The Jin Chankan villain yelled, "Boy, destroy my body. I fight with you." Although the old man in Beizong had a broken body, most of the repairs during the Yuanying period were still there. Now he even raised his hand to cut off one of his arms and groaned in his mouth, "I am physically disabled, I am not disabled. Yuan is not residual, destroyer lightning. Boy, die." The old Beizong also hated it so much that he even used the strongest spell in the Tianzhuang demon section. This day's residual lightning is the strongest method of Tianzhuang demon section. Its actual implementation is very troublesome. It requires 108 people to self-harm the body. It deliberately hurts the sky and caused the mines to move and kill each other. Tyrannical. But at this moment there are not 108 enthusiasts, but Bai Song is the ancestor of the heavenly demon sect, and now it is used. Although the power is not so great, it can be more than enough to deal with such small building repairs as Yekong. That is more than 100. Empty can also kill clean. However, Yekong also had a sense of shrewdness. Seeing that the old man turned into a Yuan infant did not run away, he felt a little uneasy. Look at the old man chopping his own arm, and reading those weird chants. Yekong knows that the old man is going to be real. Want to think about it? Hurry and escape into Pipa Zoo. Bai Song saw Yekong hiding in the Pipa beads, and he couldn't help it. This magic has already been issued, so let's post it. It is best to blow up this abominable space weapon. Boom, click, 108 powerful lightning slashed, hitting each Pipa bead every time. This powerful thunderbolt is not Yekong's spell thunderbolt, it is a sky thunder, although Bai Song is not the strongest residual thunderbolt, but it is also an authentic sky thunder. The power is very powerful, and the light seems to tear the space. The small warehouse is almost going to crash, but the Pipa beads are peaceful. Yekong doesn't want to hear it. The voice outside can't be heard. Yekong doesn't want to see it, and in any scene outside do not show. Could this holy relic of the Shadow Clan be broken by a monk? What relic is that? Bai Song made such a movement. Yekong was okay, but someone was annoyed outside. What do you do to break this cave? What's the effect of my elaborately arranged mysterious array, hidden in the cold Leng Kai's heart? Annoyed, cursing this Beizong and others in his heart, it was not enough to fail. Bai Song has already made a final killing move, and his spiritual power is also a little difficult to sustain. After all, he is now only a body of Yuan Ying. He was worried that Ye Kong would come out to take revenge after Tianlei, so he turned around and rushed into the aisle outside. He wanted to go out and find a place to rest for a while. But he didn't fly long, and saw a brown-red arm suddenly stretch out in the dark, grabbing Beizong's baby infant. Master Lengqi, Beizong was startled. But Lengqi snorted, "None of the 4 real princes can kill a monk, so what are you waiting for?" After Lengqi said, he raised his hand and put Beizong's babies into his mouth. He chewed and swallowed. After all the 108 thunderbolts were hit, looking at the small warehouse, a huge deep hole had been punched out on the ground. Ye Kong was hiding in the pipa beads. Looking up, it felt like doing well watching the sky. Thinking of the mighty power of this wrecking thunderbolt, Ye Kong couldn't help but slap his tongue. It seems that we can't underestimate the abilities of these Yuanying Zhenjun. If you just take a slow step, if Pipazu is not the shadow holy thing, killed into slag. To the reader. Today, chapter 7 and another chapter will take another hour. I did NT write it well. Oh, there are foreign relatives at home. Well, ask for a BRICS recommendation ticket, thank you, haha. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 646. Cultivation of Freedom for 6 or 6. Ye Kong controlled the pipa bead to fly out of the deep pit, but found that Beizong's old man had disappeared. Think about it immediately and understand that the power was too great just now. Presumably the old man's spiritual power was exhausted, and he found somewhere to add spiritual power. Thinking of this, Ye Kong hurried out, ready to escape. But before he escaped, one more thing had to be dealt with first, and that was Wu Yulong Zhenjun, who was trapped in the battle. Wu Yulong was trapped in the array, and now he was sullenly dying. What kind of malformation is this? You can hear inside while talking, but you cannot hear outside. The most wicked thing is that the outside can attack the inside, but the people inside cannot attack the outside. Beizong's 108 thunderbolts did not hit Ye Kong, but Wu Yulong was not badly injured. The point is that he was too close, and the trapped array was not far from the lightning strike area. Although he didn't hit him directly, it would still affect him. The hateful thing was that he couldn't escape or fight back. Wu Yulong hated the old Beizong man, and of course he hated himself. If you are a little more cautious, and you let go of Yuanying's consciousness, how can you fall into this unlucky place? However, it is no wonder that Wu Yulong, since he came to Kangbei and became a slave of the demon, he has been serving as an overseer to supervise those mortal miners. He has not fought for thousands of years, and his PK experience has long been forgotten. Wu Yulong was baffled by a lightning strike, but it was difficult to carry it. Before he could be happy, Ye Kong, the little killing star, came. Ye Mao was never polite to those who wanted to kill him. Wu Yulong was too late to resist, and was suddenly killed by the sudden emergence of Shen Biwu's golden sword. Yuan Ying came out, then escape. Still can't escape, this square is trapped in the immortal array, the immortals have to be trapped inside, not to mention Yuanying almost. Wu Yulong only sighed, if I die, I will die, even if I follow the devil, I will continue to do evil and harm the same kind of people. It's better for me to die quickly. The so-called death of man is good. If it is weekday, he will explode even if he dies, and he will drag you into the water before dying. But in the end, he wanted to open up. This boy is so powerful that he may be able to fight against the devil in the future when he grows up. Why not do something good on his own? Wu Yulong's last thought allowed Ye Kong to escape. Otherwise, the elementary infant's self-explosive force would have to be broken, and Ye Kong, who was standing by the side, would be seriously injured. Of course, Ye Kong didn't know that he was let go. He still manipulated the flying sword and killed Wu Yulong's Yuan Ying. At this time, the chalcedony was in hand, and tens of millions of spirit stones were obtained out of nothing, Well, Ye has already thought of how to go back to Kangnan to make Yedidian. He threw out the flying carpet, jumped up, and sped up the aisle as he approached. But running and running, feeling something wrong, he was already tense with excited face. Wrong. Remember that the channel is not so long. Why is there more and more flying? Also, I killed a few slaves myself. Those masters of the demon should find out immediately. Why not stop them? Not good. Conspiracy. This channel is a circular sleepy array. Ye Kong was taken aback by this idea, and the hairs behind his back were erected. He stopped the flying carpet abruptly, and shouted, "Coward, come out if you have the ability. Don't engage in such conspiracy and tricks with me." A quack of laughter sounded, and Leng Qi appeared, and he laughed, "Conspiracy and deception? You are not conspiracy and conspiracy when you are trapped by others. Are you conspiracy and conspiracy by others?" Ye Kong blushed with ridicule and scolded, "Demon, you don't have to fight with me. Your eyes are not terrible. What do you need to do?" Leng Qi laughed, "That's right, you human monks are weak, and you are a real human being, and you are small and medium, and you are just like an ant. I want to kill you as easily as I can. But I set this up. The sleepy array has another purpose. Hey, if I tell you, I'm afraid you can't take the blow." As soon as the voice of Leng Qi fell, the whole array suddenly brightened, and the soft and hazy light filled the channel, and the light was frank, as if under the light, everything had nothing to hide. A very bad feeling suddenly developed in Ye Kong's heart, and he said angrily, "My uncle's mental quality is very good. Even if you kneel on the floor and call my dear, I won't be excited. Haha, humans are really ridiculous, and they are all going to die. Do you remember that such boring words are useful?" Leng Qi sarcastically said, "The purpose of drawing you into this array is to prevent you from escaping into Pipazu. If you don't believe it, you can give it a try." Ye Kong's heart sank to the bottom of the valley at a glance. What he relied on was nothing more than hiding in the pipa beads. Now the biggest reliance was broken, and his face turned white for a moment. He had already tried it, although he could sense the pipa beads, but he could not summon it, let alone hide in it. However, Ye Kong also understood the purpose of Leng Qi faintly. The demon opened his mouth to be the pipa beads. Obviously, he had recognized the holy relic of the demons. The 8 achievements were directed at the pipa beads. Ye Kong replied, "If I didn't guess wrong, your purpose is the pipa bead, but I tell you the bead itself is a sacred artifact of the Shadow Clan. Even if you kill me and get Pipazu, it won't recognize you as the master." It was Leng Qi who hadn't thought of it, and his heart moved. Yeah, this pipa bead is not a mortal thing. It is really impossible to want it to consider itself as the master. Leng Qi thought for a moment, and immediately got an idea. He smiled coldly and said, "Weak human, your sentence saved your life. I wanted to kill you to grab the orb, but now I decided to leave you life, as long as you recognize me as master and be my slave." Leng Qi thought it well. Although he could not be the master of the Shadow Clan, but his slave was the master of the Shadow Clan, he was too great. But Ye Kong answered him without hesitation, "You dream. Human beings are the masters of all things. Can you wait to be enslaved to rule? My generation cultivates immortality, not for immortality, but only for the freedom, dignity, and transcendence of life beyond heaven and earth. If you are not free, you may die." Ye Kong's voice didn't fall. Holding the spirit stone sword, he had swooped up. "You're looking for death," Leng Qi growled. He opened his arms violently, and saw that all the auras in the air were converging towards his body. His body seemed to be a powerful water pump, absorbing all the auras and spirits around him frantically. Instantly, all of Ye Kong's magical tools and magic weapons failed, and the flying carpet under his feet turned into a common blanket with no spirituality, falling down. Yekong was busy performing the flying technique, but under the cold red full draw of the aura, the flying technique also completely failed and could not be performed at all. Haha, monk human, after all, you will become our slaves. Because you rely on your survival and powerful aura, all in our palms. To the reader. 8 more send, thank you friends for their support. Zioman has been working hard. Haha. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 647. There is no way to escape. All Yekong's magic weapons and instruments were completely invalid, and the spells could not be cast. Reiki and spiritual power were so important to monks. Without control of spiritual power, monks were no different from ordinary people. Lengqi laughed, humans will always be controlled by the demons, because the demons control the aura. Without spiritual power, your monks are nothing. Ready to accept the imprint of my pet, Lengqi laughed loudly. Yekong, who had fallen slowly to the ground, snorted, really? After that, his body stood up, Yingwu. At this time, only Yingwu is used. The monks know that gaining spiritual power is powerful, but they do not know that what is really powerful is not borrowing foreign objects. Yekong resembled a dragon, spinning, straight into the sky. The cold light of the spirit stone sword flashed in his hand, shining brilliantly. Lengqi was caught by surprise. Yekong, who had lost his spiritual support, could fly so high. He was about to release his pet's imprint, and he was pulled by Yekong by his ankle. Give me down, Yekong gritted his teeth and pulled hard. Boom, Lengqi's body was heavily hit on the ground, and heavy bluestone slabs were scattered into numerous cracks, like a cobweb. This attack? It's useless. Don't you know that the body of our holy devil Bora is the strongest? Lengqi stretched his arms and wanted to sit up. But how could Yekong get him up? A blue shadow-hungry tiger fell down, choked Lengqi's neck tightly, and the spirit stone sword in his hand stabbed like a dagger. Yeah, Ling Shijian rooted into Lengqi's magical eyes, blood ran down the sword body, spraying his face to the air. Dead, Yekong suddenly drew his sword and wanted to stab again. However, he was surprised to find that the spirit stone sword was embedded in the forehead of Lengqi, and at the same time, a powerful force absorbed the spiritual power in the spirit stone sword frantically. The spirit stone sword, which quickly loses its power, can be clearly seen that it quickly becomes white and withered, and finally becomes a white stone, which breaks and becomes powder. With this means, you want to kill me? Die! Lengqi sat up suddenly, caught Yekong with his backhand, and kicked Yekong with a kick. Boom, Yekong's body fell like a parabola. Hey, he spurted blood, but didn't stop. He stepped on the ground with his heel slammed, his body turned in a volley, and he ran away. Don't run away at this time, when do you wait? During my formation, still want to escape? If I hadn't borne this kind of garbage method eyes, you wouldn't even have had the chance to escape. Lengqi rushed to catch up with the stone powder on his face. The passage is endless and there is no end. Yekong ran wildly, and there was always an endless channel in front of him. He knew that this was a cycle and there was no end. He never wanted to escape. But what if you do and run away? The magic weapon failed, and the spell failed, not even the only spirit stone sword that hurt Lengqi. He didn't know how to survive the disaster. Suddenly he thought of the dreamland he saw in the city of Dreamland. That's right, it really is. At that time, I saw with my own eyes that I was running in the deep passage, and a three-eyed devil was behind him. Same, exactly the same, that dream is really their future. But that dream was not complete, and could not give Yekong a hint. Later, what happened, Yekong didn't know at all. But Yekong rekindled hope, because he clearly remembered that the dream had not ended here. Because after that dream, he saw that he was begging like a dog, and he was bullied by a group of mortals. I won't die here. Otherwise, there will be no later dreams. His heart was overwhelmed, and if those dreams heralded the future, it showed that he had hope of living. Many people are at a critical moment. Life and death are only in their thoughts. If he gives up early and despairs, he is likely to lose the slight chance of living. But Ecchi is different. He believes that persistence is different. Persevere, persist, and persist. However, he continued to run more and more desperate, because the channel is still the channel, the spiritual power is still unavailable, and he sees no hope at all. A voice suddenly appeared in his heart and said to him, "Don't run away, don't hold on, don't be stupid. You have no hope, you cannot escape. Better choose to compromise and be a slave to the devil." You see that so many true kings and gods can be slaves to the devil with peace of mind. They don't live well, and they can live tens of thousands. Go. Go to your mother's demon. I'm dead. I won't be a slave. This is my bottom line, I will never compromise and never step back. The voice in my heart yelled, saying less of these useless things, you are now running away, and what is said to never step back? Ridiculous. Want to start, surrender, you can control the pipa beads, presumably a slave, but also a very good slave, alive, the most important thing. The most important thing is to live. There is hope for being alive. Maybe you can escape from the control of the devil. Ecchi couldn't help but start to think behind him, Xianxia was chasing after him. He was not in a hurry. After all, he needed a slave who could control Pipazu, not a slave he didn't need broken beads on the table. Weak humans, don't run away, you will never run out of my palms, you are destined to be my slave, rest assured, I will be nice to you, ha 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 ha. Xianxia's voice came from behind, but Ecchi ignored it and flew away. However, the loss of spiritual power is terrible, deadly to the monk. Ecchi's physical strength is also disappearing quickly, and he finally feels that he can't move. Run, do you keep running? Xianxia couldn't help laughing, and humans were so stupid, knowing that there was no hope, but they still wanted to find hope. Ecchi sat on the ground, exhaling with anger, and after becoming a monk, he felt tired for the first time, really tired. Well, there will be no one to save you, even if you continue to run, there will be no hope. Xianxia laughed and flew up, he raised his right hand, the sharp nails on his fingers flashed with black light. He raised his brown-red left arm again, then cut the skin of his left arm with his right fingernail, and a drop of crimson blood flew out. Ready to accept the imprint of my pet? This does not require your consent. Xianxia finished, the law eye on his forehead opened, he had to imprint his imprint before he could accept Ecchi as a pet. Ecchi knew that this was the critical moment, and he had to make a decision. The voice in my heart said, do you still need to use broken immortal road? Do you know the consequences? Once again, your spiritual power cyclone will completely collapse. You will truly become immortal. Even mortals are not as good. To the reader. 8 more send, thank you friends for their support. Zioman has been working hard, haha. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 648. 648 Regardless of consequences. But Ecchi resolutely lifted his breath and stood up. Think about the consequences. Even if you kill this demon, there are countless other demons. Outside, when you become immortal, how can you escape? At that time you will die worse. But Ecchi remained unmoved. When he resolutely raised his right hand, the demon was torn to pieces instantly, leaving only that sharp voice, you will regret it. I won't regret it. Never. Even if I die, I will not humiliate the hooligans of the earth, I will spray you with a face of blood before dying. If you mess with me, you have to pay the price. When Xianxia just finished casting, Looking up, I saw that Yekong had opened a long green bow below. On the bowstring, a 7-colored flashing arrow was condensing and forming. Fairy, Leng Qi exclaimed in shock. At this moment he is no longer considering the issue of receiving favors. He is now considering the issue of saving lives. In a hurry, Leng Qi lost his essence and wanted to escape. As soon as this bow comes out, the fairy road will be broken. Yekong loosened his fingers, a little brilliance, and left the string. Boom boom. 3 bombardments sounded, and a headless brown-red corpse fell to the ground. As soon as Leng Qi died, the circular matrix he formed also dissipated instantly, and the channel seemed to flash for a while, and it was restored as before. However, Yekong knew that the formation was broken because he could already feel the aura. But at this time I felt aura, a little late. With the disappearance of the last ray of fairy qi, the spiritual force cyclone collapsed, and the weak metallic spiritual force was lying on the ground, unable to move at all. As a result, spiritual power cannot be mobilized at all, and he has become immortal. There are a lot of demons out there, how can you escape? Yekong sat on the ground with and smiled bitterly. Now that he has no spiritual power, he just has to wait for death when he comes to a demons. Let's hide into Pipa Zoo first. However, even this wish could not be fulfilled. The loss of spiritual power caused him to be unable to control the Pipa beads at all, let alone hide in the Pipa beads. Yekong was shocked by this discovery, and now he has no escape route. Escape, no way to escape. Hide, nowhere to hide. How to do? Yekong really felt desperate for the first time. There was nothing to do and no friends to help. What should I do? Fortunately, the storage ring can be used. Since deciding to let everyone know who he is, Yekong has put all the storage bags in the storage ring. However, it was strange that Yekong found that there was no spiritual power when taking out the storage bag, and even the storage bag could not be opened. Strange thing, you can use a storage ring, but not a storage bag? Yekong had 2 storage rings. He took out another storage ring and found that it could not be opened. It seems that the storage ring left by Wuxing Sanren is more special. As long as you recognize the Lord, you can open it without spiritual power. Yekong immediately understood this. He rummaged in the storage ring again, trying to find something that could take him out of his predicament. However, everything inside seems to be useless, and those magical instruments require spiritual power to operate. The only thing that could be used was a blood token and the black token Wu Wuzi had given him. Yekong did not dare to use the black token arbitrarily. After all, Wu did not know the grandness that he said at the beginning, so that he would not use it until the moment of crisis. What are the consequences of using it? He really does not know. His eyes fell on the blood rune. He used this thing once. Although it requires spiritual power, he can use his own blood to urge it. Although the consequences of using blood mochi are more serious, after all, it can still be within the range that Yekong can bear. At most, it is injured. Take some elixir and recover for a few months. Yekong decided to use the blood seal first. Abyss Valley mining area. Several monsters were waiting anxiously at the entrance of a mine. Bai Song and others died, and their master sensed it immediately, but they stood at the entrance of the mine and did not dare to enter. What's inside is really disturbing, a demon guard said anxiously. Another demon guard laughed, what can be worried? 80% of the slaves caused the Lengchi adults to be unhappy, and they were killed by the Lengchi adults. It is impossible for the little monk to do it. A human monk next to him proclaimed, 2 adults, should I let you know what you are doing? Don't, the demon immediately stopped, Master Lengchi took special care. Don't try to spy on the situation inside, otherwise you won't kill it. You want to die, I don't want to die. The more anxious devil was still not assured, and said, but it's been almost a day, I'm afraid Lord Lengchi. You really worry, That's just a little monk. Even our slaves can easily kill him, let alone Lord Lengchi. Don't worry. The worried devil is relieved. It is also said, that is just a little human monk, so inferior, only survived by a space weapon, and what to worry about? Can he really defeat the powerful cold red adult? Obviously impossible. I didn't know how long it was before, suddenly, the little door was pushed open without warning. Welcome to Lord Lengchi. All the demon guards and human monks knelt down, and they did not dare to neglect Lengchi adults under one person and over 10,000 people. But what they saw was indeed a pair of human cloth shoes with white and black background. It's not Lengchi adults. Everyone was shocked, and a few demon immediately jumped up and rushed to Yekong. But it was late. Yekong stepped out of the passage and spurred the blood dagger with a bite of blood. He did not cast in the mine because he was worried that there would be other restrictions in the mine that he did not know. Like these warehouses, many will set up some prohibitions to prevent others from stealing, so Yekong ventures out to cast. It can be said that he is really careful. But even if he was so careful, he couldn't figure out where he could go and what was going on there. Immediately after the blood rune was cast, Yekong felt that the whole body's blood was twitched, and the spiritual power paralyzed at the bottom of Ki was pulled out. Although it was the second use, he still felt that his soul had been drained. Hey, he spit out a blood mist, and the figure turned into a beam of blood, and disappeared at the end of the sky. Catch up, all the demon flew out. But those human monks shook their heads and stopped. The blood rune escaped too fast, and even Yuan Ying did not escape so fast. It was almost impossible to catch up. In fact, deep down in their hearts, there was another voice saying, "Let's go, run away a little. Never come back." The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 649. The mountains are running out of water. 1,000 miles away, a demon lord manor. The garden has deep flowers and trees, and the environment is quite good. It seems that after countless years of development, the demons have begun to look like humans and attach importance to the living environment. Of course, these colorful things need not be handled by them, and they have their own human slaves to handle them. In the corner of the garden, under the vine, on a huge deck chair, a witch was fighting with 3 human monks, and the witch hummed comfortably as she lay down. Witches can't have children, and they are not as beautiful as human women, so they are abandoned. And they have nothing to do every day when they are idle, so the biggest entertainment is to find a human man to satisfy this happiness. A demon is different from a human. There are 3 things, and a demon is the same. Therefore, 3 human men are needed every time. But unfortunately, the locations of the 3 caves are relatively concentrated, and it is impossible for 3 human men to perform at the same time. Therefore, when one man is performing, the other 2 will dig. Dear, anyway, it is more disgusting. In order to get the master's favor, she can agree to practice a little more, so human male monks can only tolerate nausea and try to be more comfortable with the witch. Just then, the witch's opened eyes suddenly saw a red light flashing in the sky. Stop, the witch immediately stood up, kicked the hard-working monk aside, and the lotus-like decoration on her waist automatically fell down, covering the lower side. Zhang Tao, show me, what the is that, the witch ordered. Zhang Tao is the working human man. He didn't dare to neglect, and no matter he was working somewhere, he quickly put on his clothes, and a teleportation disappeared. Haha, I escaped again, the devil, let's die. Yekong didn't care about the tragic bleeding of his body, lying in a wheat field, laughing out loud, and every time he escaped from the tiger's mouth, there was as if excited to be born again. But soon a voice interrupted him, "Which lord are you slaves? Don't you know the consequences of sneaking into the realm of other lords? Daiu, you were seriously injured in the lower body. This is where you are by mistake. Everyone is human. Help me." There will be a poster in the future, Ecchi said. The side effects of the blood marshal are more serious than the last time. At this moment, he has a severely broken meridian and no strength at all. Even his speech is intermittent. His eyes are constantly dark and he may be unconscious at any time. At this moment, he only wants the person in front of him. For the sake of human beings, find a safe place for him to take a pill of elixir and rest for a few days. But apparently he did not meet good people. Zhang Tao snorted coldly. It's just a mortal slave. I don't know how much to die every day. I can't help each one. Ecchi's spiritual power stopped completely, and all the meridians were damaged. At this moment, he is just a mortal who has not cultivated. Ecchi didn't know how to explain it. If he told him he was a monk and killed the demon, he would lose his repair right now because he was hurt, fearing that he would die faster. Senior, save one's life to win the 7th level floating slaughter. If you don't want to help, please treat me as if you didn't see me, cough. Ecchi slammed bloodily. He rarely asks for such a person, but his condition is really bad. He doesn't expect this person to save him, as long as this person can make him rest in the sweet field. But even this request was unsuccessful. Not that Zhang Tao did not agree, but that the witch came. Oblique the Lord and found a mortal slave who fled in, Zhang Tao said quickly and respectfully. The witch's eyes glanced and found that the boy was indeed a mortal. But mortals live in hardships, are enslaved, their clothes are ragged, and most of them are shirtless or animal skins. Although Ecchi was full of blood, he could see that the clothes were not worn by mortal slaves. So the witch can't help but doubt. Rinse the blood off his face, the demon ordered. Zhang Tao quickly followed suit, playing a water-based spell, and immediately washed Ecchi's face clean. Let me see. The witch came up and saw Ecchi's face, her eyes flashed. Although Ecchi isn't so handsome and scumble, but he is also straightforward. More importantly, he has a temperament that others don't have, a kind of arrogant and unruly mentality that humans don't have here. The witch was watching Ecchi, and Ecchi was looking at her. This is the first time Ecchi has faced a witch so face to face. The first impression is that it is so ugly. 2 or more meters of head, brown skin, no hair, no eyebrows, no clothes, if there is no obvious difference between the chest and the male devil, otherwise it is really impossible to distinguish between men and women. What surprised Ecchi the most was that the demon woman even had 3 rooms hanging side by side, which made people feel as sick as seeing a freak. Ecchi looked disgusted at her, but the demon woman looked at Ecchi very easily and nodded, "It looks good." Demon women are so promiscuous. When they see a little man, they are moved. They do not ask Ecchi where they are from and where they are going. They just look up at the lotus-like cover around her waist and want to show that part. Zhang Tao, go and strip off all his clothes and pants, the demon asked again. Ecchi really has a dead heart. Why was he so unlucky that he got out of the tiger's den and entered the wolf's den? The witch had to herself without saying a word. If it was a beautiful human woman, he wouldn't mind letting the other person succeed. But this is an ugly female devil. If you let it succeed, Ecchi estimates that 80% of his life will be impotence. You ancestors, you witch, you are not afraid of contracting AIDS. Ecchi just started to scold, but Zhang Tao spoke first. This chapter Tao is still very much loved by this female devil, and now seeing a young white face, he was worried that he would lose his status in the future, and quickly spoke. Lord, this person's origin is unknown, and he is a mortal, how can he deserve the Lord's joy? Ecchi vomits blood, who is not worth it? You deserve it, you're good to her, I don't want such good things. Of course, although Zhang Tao was discriminated against, Ecchi would not be stupid to refute. He didn't want to have anything to do with these witches. Zhang Tao said that he was still very satisfied. But then, Ecchi was not satisfied. Zhang Tao also said, and this person was seriously injured, his veins were broken, and he was afraid that his life would soon die. It would be a disappointment to die with the honorable Lord. I remember the Lord, you do nt have much land for lunch today. T. The surname is Zhang. I have no injustice with you. You will hurt me, so sooner or later, you will have retribution. Yekong couldn't help but cursed out loud, but he was spitting blood again when he was excited. Hey, little white face, let's die. Zhang Tao was proud, pointing at Yekongdao. Lord, I'm right, he vomits blood all the time. How can he be happy? At first glance, the female devil was also ignorant. The human slaves that used to eat were mortals with earthy colors. When did they eat such a smooth person? That's right, I sucked his brain first, then you cut his heart back and make dinner for me. The witch said, 3 pointed needle-like mouthpieces came out. It seems that only the last one is used. Senior Wu, I hope you will not let me down. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 650. 650 Black Demon. Yekong was at the most critical moment, and Wu Wuzi finally used the black token given to him. In fact, Yekong has never dared to use this thing. I do nt know what the consequences will be. If I think of Wu's solemn expression, Yekong guesses the side effects. I am afraid that it is not smaller than the blood charm. What's more, the token is engraved with a ghost head and the words of the devil in black, which makes people feel at first glance that this is not a good thing. But when Yekong used it, he found that things were not what he thought. Immediately after the token was used, Yekong felt a sudden confusion in front of him. This confusion was very fast. It felt like only half a second. Immediately his eyes became clear again. He found himself lying in a small enclosed room of about 4 or 5 square feet. The small room has no doors and no windows. The walls and roof are made of black reflective material, as if it were a black glass room. The outside is not visible, but there is soft light from the outside. On the black glass, there is a stream of water flowing. Where is this? Is this an independent space like Peepa Zoo? But how did it feel weird? Yekong Qiang braced, wanting to sit up and see what happened. But at this moment, a gentle and soft voice came from the head, the distinguished disciple number 9257, welcome to return to the devil in black. This sect will provide you with the highest quality and considerate service, no matter what you need, this case can satisfy you. What the hell, Yekong heard in the clouds and fog. Distinguished disciple? Yekong also knows a lot of Zongmen's head Yuan, and has also been to a few Zongmen, but no one has been so polite, calling his disciples honorable. This is too polite, and it is not reliable. And what needs can be met later, how can it be a slogan for a brothel? Hey, can the person who speaks come out to see you? Are you a real person or an artificial voice? Yekong asked. No answer was received. Well, at least it's safe here, let's talk about restoring the body first. Yekong Gang wanted to find some medicine to take. But listening to the soft woman's voice again, dear disciple 9257, the debt you owe this case has matured for 30 years and another 5 months. All services, to avoid the loss of late fees, please return it quickly. Yekong fainted. I didn't do anything, why was he inexplicably in debt? It has expired in 30 years. I don't know how much I owe, Yekong asked timidly. The debt you owe, including interest and interest, plus late fees, is. The woman's voice paused, then she said a number that let Yekong spit blood. A total of 2,877,474 pieces of spirit stone. Yekong has fainted. Oh my god, Wu didn't know his predecessor. No wonder you solemnly handed this thing to me. I dare to have a big pit waiting for me to fill it. 28.77 million spirit stones. Forget it, you kill me. Dear Disciple 9257, please repay your debt quickly. Disciple 9257, please repay the debt quickly. 9527, please repay the debt quickly. Yakong couldn't help but smile bitterly. What kind of black magic monster is this mother? She just doesn't recognize money, but she's so polite just now. If she doesn't pay back the money, she will immediately make a big turn. But more depressing is still behind, just listening to the woman's voice screaming, "Warning! Warning! Disciple 9257, your refusal to repay compels this case to blacklist you. This case will suspend you all rights, temporarily withhold all your belongings and deposits, and refuse you to enter until you pay off the debt. If you still refuse to repay, this case will charge you at all costs." Yakong couldn't help laughing. Am I dreaming? I wonder what I gave to myself? What a mess. Although Yakong didn't understand what was going on, but the woman said a word he could understand: refuse to enter. "Wiln't you kick me out?" Yakong hurriedly shouted. "Sister, let me stay here for a few days, you see I'm injured lying down, there are people out there who want my life. Sister, carry on the spirit of international humanitarianism, rescue the wounded." Obviously, the woman's voice was not real. She did not take care of Yakong at all, but she said to herself, "Practitioner number 9257, you will be evicted after 10 breaths. The teleportation place, the last time you used the Black Order coordinate position, please be prepared. 10, 9, 8. Where was the last normal use? Then I wasn't considered normal use just now, big sister, I don't want to go back." After 10 breaths, Yakong finally knew that the last normal place of use was not the Kangbei Demon Zone. It was arrears of use. If you want to pass it, the Black Demon will not pass it. Where was the last normal use? Yakong didn't know, he only saw the sky above him was a dark red, and then he suddenly found a very bad problem. He was in the air several meters high. I don't know. The last time your mother used it normally, why should you stand so high? In fact, you can't blame Wu Wuren. It was a small building here a few decades ago. At that time, he was standing upstairs to use it. Who knows that the building has been demolished and dug into a pond? Wow, someone planted well into the pond. What the is this hum? Yakong only felt that his eyes were dark, and he couldn't hold it anymore, and passed out completely. In Yan's house, in the tallest main house, a tall and slender old man was worrying, and a woman who looked like an ant was also lamenting and sighing, apparently encountering something troubled. While they were upset, they heard the noise outside, and the old man pushed out the door, angrily, "Nothing in the middle of the night, what are you arguing about?" A housekeeper ran over immediately, "A blame to the master. Just now, I fell into the lotus pond suddenly, and the young people went to salvage." The master frowned. Who doesn't walk with long eyes and turns around in the middle of the night, why not drown? The steward said, "Master, it is not the man in our house. It fell from the sky. It seems that after the battle, the whole body is very hurt and the veins are broken." The old man asked quickly, "Is it a monk?" No, the steward shook his head. "It's a mortal, and from old age's perspective, this person is afraid that he won't be able to support it for a long time. He's already in a coma, and he probably won't wake up again." "This is the case," the old man sighed and waved, "since the person's origin is unknown, maybe it will bring disaster to my house. Throwing him out of the house at night is, oh, since I fell into my house, it's also a fate. Before throwing it out, swallowing him a big return to the den, it is also considered that I have done everything in Yan government." "Yes." The steward was about to leave, and when he heard the old man commanded, "I have a VIP coming soon, don't let those who don't have long eyes to disturb." You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 651. Troubles of the Family. The old man repelled and walked back to the house. The middle-aged woman quickly greeted her and asked, "Feng Yun, when did it happen outside?" The old man was Yan Fengjian, the owner of this family. He closed the door with his backhand and comforted him. "It's okay, but it's a noise." He walked over to help the middle-aged woman and squeezed a smile, saying, "Xiaoling, you also don't worry too much, there will be some way when Deng Deng comes." The woman named Xiaoling also nodded and said, "After all, Deng is Yuan Zhenjun. He is well informed and there should be some ways." Yan Fengjian sighed and said, "In fact, I'm not worried about the voodoo demon, but Shu Hui herself. If she wants to join the voodoo demon, she can't stop it." Wu Xiaoling also sighed, "Yeah, Shu Hui's spiritual roots are too bad, and she is proud and arrogant. She hasn't made any progress since staying in the early days of building the foundation. Of course, she is uncomfortable. Perhaps joining the video-audio demon is the best choice." Yan Fengjian shook his head and said, "Anyway, I won't agree. It would be a good choice for the painting to use the magic demon to refine the painting. Good people with flesh and blood don't do it, they have to make a painting. I'd rather have her join the iron-armed demon, than let her join the audio-visual demon." Wu Xiaoling laughed, "Look at what you said, iron-armed demon is where the daughter's house goes. Look at the disciples of iron-armed demon. All of them practice their arms like steel and iron. If my daughter trains, how can this monster find his wife's family in the future? The picture-sounding demon is not like a human, a ghost is not like a ghost, and he can't find his in-laws." Yan Fengjian's voice didn't fall, and a hearty laughter came from outside. "Nai Fengyungxian, when are you so troubled? Is it because your daughter is in a hurry to find his wife's house?" An old man who looks older than Yan Fengjian came in. This person is the old Deng they were waiting for. Old Deng is a casual practitioner who can reach the realm of Yuan Ying Zhenjun. No pointing the doorway is impossible. I heard that this person has a very wide face, and there are many friends in the 8,000 realms in Yunyeo. This person also has a lot of ideas, so the acquaintances have some troubles, and they like to ask him for an idea." Seeing Deng Lao coming in, Yan Fengjian quickly greeted him and laughed. Old Deng made fun of him. "Right now, when the video and sound master zone opened the mountain door, when we recruited disciples, how could we have any thoughts about finding my wife's family?" The middle-aged woman Wu Xiaoling also hurried over to Dignity Yufu and said, "Uncle Deng, don't make fun of us, we will wait for you to come up with an idea." Wu Xiaoling's words were coquettish, and Deng Lao went to touch her head and smiled. "I haven't seen it for decades, I can't think Xiaoling has grown so big. This scene is a bit bizarre. This old Deng is not much older than Wu Xiaoling's husband. How can he be so frivolous? Your mortal thought, can the age of the monk be seen?" Deng Lao is actually the elder of Yan Fengjian and Wu Xiaoling. He used to be called a brother and brother with Wu Xiaoling's father. It can be said that he grew up watching Wu Xiaoling, of course. Wu Xiaoling also said, "Uncle Deng, you have a lot of ideas. Come to think of an idea." Deng Lao actually knew what had happened, but still joked, "It is a good thing to engrave the demon sect once in 30 years. That's a good thing. I heard that the devil is superb and does not accept it. Superb is the master of this state. How many people cannot enter it?" Yan Fengjian anxiously said, "Our Shu Hui is the only seedling. We can't let her join the video-audio demon. When you join the video-audio demon, you will practice the method of human painting, and I don't know whether it is an individual or a painting. You don't want to look at our house, Mr. Deng. The monks value the children of the heavens and light their children and grandchildren. Feng Yun, you just can't see through them, and you can't move forward in the Jidan period." Deng Laoha laughed. Deng Laoyi said that Yan Fenjian blushed and did not speak, but Wu Xiaoling chanted again, "Uncle Deng, wouldn't you want to help this out? That's why the video master Mozong has issued the main law of the state, let this all women of the right age must participate in the selection, and we are desperate." Deng Lao nodded, "How could I not want to help? Just because of my friendship with your father Wu, how can I not do my best with his granddaughter?" Deng Lao patted Wu Xiaoling's head again and laughed, "I do nt worry, it's too easy to resolve this issue." After listening to Lao Ding the couple of the Yan family was immediately overjoyed, so they had to scratch their heads and thank them. Then Deng Lao Ki whispered, "I heard the most important assessment when the female apprentices were examined by Hui and Mozong, not the appearance of this woman. Some of the magical agents of the Huiyan are to change the appearance of the face. Can be selected." The Yan family looked at each other and both thought that this was not good news. They can be chosen in general, and their daughter is so beautiful, I am afraid that she will definitely be left behind. However, Deng Lao also said, when they audit, the most important thing is the purity of this woman. If the unclean girl is no matter how beautiful, they should not. It turned out to be this way. Yan Fenjian was startled, and immediately understood what Deng Deng meant. He was busy. Old Deng meant that my family Shuai and the man. Yan Fenjian said that he couldn't go on half, and asked his daughter to find a man XX, such a word could not be said by any parents. Wu Xiaoling also understood, shook her head, and said, "No, let us not say that Shu Hui is arrogant, even if she is willing, we can't agree. Our Hui Shu is also a serious woman. How can I make such a humiliating family thing?" Deng Lao angrily said, I just found a man casually. I mean, let her quickly find a husband's house, and everyone hurried to pay a visit to the marriage, wouldn't everyone be happy?" Yan Fenjian asked quickly, "Will the voodoo magic sect be angry with us?" Deng Liadao said, "No, I heard the news in black, from friends." Few people knew that the video masters could not even guess that their confidential assessment contents had been leaked. As a matter of fact, they didn't say that they were not allowed to marry. How could they anger you? Yan Fenjian immediately smiled and nodded, "Old Deng really has a great deal of friendship, and the news reaches 1 million soldiers. This is a very good plan." Wu Xiaoling nodded, but still worried, "Looking for my wife's house, where do you find this in a hurry? The juniors of the Yan family and the Wu family have a few juniors, but Shu Hui doesn't look down on her. Besides, the juniors are in other places, and when we tell them to come, it's too late." Old Deng twisted his beard and frowned. It's difficult, he thought again and said, "With it, I can't seem to make a fake marriage. Find a man to worship and pretend to be in the cave, isn't it?" Yan Fenjian worried, "I'm afraid it won't work. If it's fake, it's still innocent. How can the elders of the video demon zone can't see it?" The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 652. 652 leaves empty. It's okay, what's there for my friend? Put some elixir to let Shu Hui take it, and then you can get over it. Just my friend, well, that place only recognizes the spirit stone. Yan Fenjian said busily, "This is, of course, how to make Deng seniors pay for their money, as many spirits as they need." Deng Lao blushed and smiled, "No way, that friend only recognized the spirit stone. It was the news just now, and I also spent a lot of spirit stone. I should have given it to you, but I have been tighter recently, so Dan, you can raise the money for the medicine yourself." "How can you let Deng Lao spend it?" Yan Fenjian said as he wanted to get the spirit stone. Everyone said yes. Mr. Deng left in a hurry and went to find his so-called friend for elixir. The Yan family was worried. Where does this man go? Which man would like to worship only without going to bed? It would be shameful to find a family member to play and spread the story of Miss Yan family to marry a family member. If it is right to find a door, I am afraid that the other man would not agree. His daughter did not agree. And how to deal with it after worshipping? If the new ant is kicked away, I am afraid that this guy will hate it, and will go to the magic to tell the truth. If this ant has a bad heart and uses this to coerce Yan's family, the consequences will be even harder to imagine. Whatever the couple of the Yan family thought, they couldn't think of a suitable candidate, and finally had to call in the housekeeper again. The host's housework is generally not concealed. The housekeeper's name is Yanfu, and he is also a clever man. Yanfu thought for a while and suddenly said, "I have an idea." The Yan family said, "Come on. The best way is to find someone who is seriously ill or dying, and let this person marry the young lady. When this matter comes to an end, it is best for this person to die. If not, we will help him." After all, Wu Xiaoling was a woman. After listening to the stewardess's poison, she couldn't help but start shaking her head and said, "This is not good." Yanfu said, "In fact, I am a saying, and I don't necessarily kill him. As long as he is honest and obedient, we don't have to kill people. Besides, if this person is a kind person, he should be grateful to us for saving his life instead of pinching on my Yan family." Yan Fenjiun doubted, "Listen to your tone, may you already have a candidate?" Yanfu whispered, "Master, have you forgotten, who fell in our lotus pond just now?" "Really help me too," Yan Fenjiun laughed, and then he thought about it, and asked, "Isn't that person thrown out?" "Master, I'll move him back here." Yanfu trot away. Yan Fenjiun hurriedly said to Wu Xiaoling again, "Mrs, it's up to you to persuade your daughter. The painting and sound demon is not a good place to let her die. If she becomes a picture, my father will die. In front of her. There is nothing wrong with Wu Xiaoling." Then Yan Shuai didn't make up her mind to turn into a painting. "I heard that it was only a false worship, and she had no opinion. What threat does a dying person have? The guy turned back and she was still free. Even if her reputation was damaged, she was still clean. When he meets a man who really loves her, he will explain the situation at that time." Yan Shuai finally agreed, but Yanfu's news was not so good. The person who just thrown out of the house lost at tea time, but the housekeeper couldn't find it. Yan Fenjiun was also very annoyed. After considering it for a while, he only ordered to go on. While continuing to search, they sent people to other places to call the cousins, and distant brothers of the aunt, cousin, and aunt. This kind of thing is really a family thing. Where did Yekong go? But it wasn't that he ran away by himself. His veins were broken and he had no spiritual repair. Falling from the air made him worse. The biggest thing is that when he was troubled by the black demon, he forgot to take the panacea. Really, thanks to Yan Fenjiun, the big Dan who let him feed him. Of course, his meridians are remade, far superior to ordinary people, and his body has been trained in spiritual martial arts, so he would not die without that elixir. Just with the elixir made him wake up faster. He finally woke up, but he didn't open his eyes because he heard someone talking to him. Now he is worse than mortals, and of course he dared not open his eyes rashly. I listened to the conversation between these two people, Brother Tankun, what is the name of the Yan family, and he left a dead person in the middle of the night, but strangely, when he threw it on the ground, the steward put a big gift in his mouth. Dan. Tankun also wondered, it's really strange. But this person is not a monk, how can he break the veins? Brother Suyazhang, do you think he is practicing some strange magical powers, leading to the total destruction of the cultivation? What about the meridians? Suyachane nodded and said, this is quite possible, maybe this person is practicing this self-disconnecting meridian to increase strength. Yekong lying down really wanted to curse, the meridians were completely broken, and the power of was increased. How can there be such in the world? However, he then heard that Tankun said, it's really possible. We want to be in the 8,000 world in Yunyeo, and there are tens of thousands of demons. What kind of exercises aren't there? What we cultivate in the heavenly demon sect is self-harm and increase with pain strength. Here are two words that caught Yekong's attention. The first is Yunyeo 8,000 realms. It's not the first time Yunyeo has heard of it, but what is the 8,000 realm and what is it? The second word, Tianzhang Mozong. It seems that the Beizong was the ascendant demon sect's ascension, and the remnant thunderbolt operation was not blown. Based on the above 2 points, Yehalo moved. Could he come to Yunyeo himself? Wu Unknown's black brand comes from Yunyeo. Where does Wu come from? Where did he get the black brand? How could he go to Kangnan? Perhaps it was the sign he picked up by accident? Although there are many doubts, Yekong Li has confirmed that he has arrived at Yunyeo. What is this black magic demon, Tiankan demon, and only Yunyeo has these things? Yekong wanted to listen to a few more words, but it didn't work. These two guys even noticed his storage ring. Brother Tenkun, you said he wouldn't bring a storage ring, Su Yuhan said, grabbing Yekong's hand. The Tenkun shook his head and said, do NT dream about it? How could a mortal have a storage ring? That is a decorative ring. I have seen the storage ring of our Lord Kenyuzhan, completely different from his. Su Yuquan was still reconciled. Brother Tenkun, you just said that, he may be a monk who has failed in his practice, maybe he has a storage ring. You see, he has no storage bag, no storage bracelet. If he is a monk, this must be a storage ring.